95% of your life is ruled by your subconscious mind. And most people are completely unaware of what's in their subconscious mind. So most people's lives are ruled 95% by something they're completely unaware of. I mean, no wonder why it's hard to stick to new goals. No wonder why it's hard to make change and progress in life. No wonder why your motivation will last only a few days and then you'll go back to your old ways. Because if you don't change your subconscious mind, the change will not last. And by that same token, if you want to change your life fast, you need to change your subconscious mind. And this is where shadow work comes in. Shadow work. Oh, if you haven't heard of shadow work yet, I am so happy to be the person to introduce you. So shadow work is essentially a process where you dive into your deepest fears, insecurities, and beliefs, and you heal them. Your life will only be as good as your biggest insecurity. And if you never face your insecurities or your fears, your life won't change. Your life will only be as good as your biggest insecurity. So in this video, I'm going to teach you all about shadow work. I'm going to tell you what it is, why it's important, as well as how to actually do it. I'm going to go through step by step the process of what shadow work is, how to do it, and there is a free present at the end of this video if you do stay to the end, so I hope you do. The reason why it's even called shadow work is because we have what is called a shadow self. The shadow self is basically the version of us that holds all of our deepest, darkest fears, insecurities, and traumas. Imagine yourself to be the light, and you're basically carrying this shadow along with you in life. And as we go through traumatic events, usually early on in our childhood is when our shadow is built, when we go through different traumas or different experiences. And it starts to kind of build this shadow that we carry with us. This term was coined by the psychiatrist Carl Jung. He believed that we need to heal those parts of ourselves in order to become our highest potential. And I do, for the most part, agree with that. I believe that you truly will only be as successful, you will only be as happy as your deepest insecurities. However, I don't believe that humans are something to fix. I don't believe that you will ever reach a state of completion where you erase all of your insecurities and you're perfect. It's just, we're human. It's not gonna happen. But I do believe that addressing and understanding your traumas and your pains and your insecurities and having compassion for yourself is such a healthy way to live. And it gives you the ability to become your highest, truest self and achieve all the things you want in life. Whether that's success, money, love, friendship, whatever it is, beauty, intelligence, whatever it is, it's gonna allow you to just be your fullest potential. Because instead of hiding from your shadow, you are confronting your shadow and you're comforting your shadow. So this way your shadow doesn't rule your life. It doesn't control your choices and it doesn't control your impulses. You will control your shadow. So for example, in my life, there have been a lot of problems that have been repeat problems in my life. I've always had this issue saying no to people and kind of being taken advantage of by people and being bullied by people. So growing up, I was bullied a lot. I was taken advantage of a lot. I was always the butt of a joke, or I don't know why. It felt like people always made fun of me. It's like I had this sticker on my head that said, bully me. And to some extent, I kind of did, like energetically, I kind of did. Because no matter which school I transferred to, and I transferred a lot of schools to escape bullying, there would always be new people who would make fun of me and do the same thing. It was like no matter how much I changed my city, my school, my situation, cut out old people who were toxic, they'd find their way back into my life with different names and different bodies. And at some point, I had to take a look at myself and say, I'm the common denominator here. Every time I switch schools, the same situation keeps happening. Even into my adulthood, the same situation keeps happening where people take advantage of me. I let people step all over me. I don't establish boundaries. And at some point, you have to realize that if problems are recurring, if people are treating you poorly in some way, or you keep attracting the same situation, the same problem, you are the common denominator. And that's not to blame yourself. That's not to look at yourself and think that, oh my God, you're horrible. That's not the point. The point is there is something within you that's actually acting as a defense mechanism that is attracting these situations. Believe it or not, I know it sounds a little twisted. You're like, why would my defense mechanism cause problems for me? Because a defense mechanism is meant to keep us safe. That once we are safe and we don't turn off the defense mechanism or we don't address it and heal the defense mechanism, it will start to counteract. It will start to basically destroy us. So let me give you an example. If, let's say, this is such a heightened example. Okay, let's say like back in the Stone Ages or something. You learn that in order to survive, you need to fight off predators. And so you always carry around weapons with you and you're constantly in defense mode and you're fighting off predators. And then let's say the predators go away, you kill them all, you beat them, you destroyed them. And then all of a sudden another person comes by. Someone who's not a predator, someone who could be a friend, could help you, whatever. You are still in your defense mechanism of trying to defend yourself. You still have weapons in your hand. You haven't turned that part of you off. So even though this person who's approached you is not a threat, because your defense mechanism is still turned on, you attack them. Now, your defense mechanism has turned against you and has destroyed what could have been a friendship. That's a dramatic example of how your traumas and your defense mechanisms can work against you if it's the wrong place and time for it. You can't live your life in survival mode. And if you don't address your traumas, your brain will literally think it's still in survival mode because you haven't resolved your traumas. And if your brain is in survival mode, I'm sorry, but you can't thrive while you're trying to survive. And this is where the problem is that most people are trying to thrive when they haven't addressed the fact that they're still in survival mode. They haven't healed from their traumas. They might not even know they have traumas. And that's why it's hard to progress when you have all this baggage with you that you haven't let go of. So shadow work basically allows you to address and heal those parts of yourself so you can turn your defense mechanism off, you can stop surviving, and you can start thriving. Okay, so what is shadow work exactly? Shadow work is exploring hidden parts of ourselves, insecurities, suppressed emotions, fears, doubts, and unacceptable aspects. The point of shadow work is not to label these things as good or bad, okay? You don't want to alienate parts of yourself. It's a shadow part, but it's still your shadow self. It's still a part of you. And it still got you here to where you are today. It still made you the person you are today, and we don't want to ignore that. Those traumas and those defense mechanisms were useful at a point in time. They did help you. So we can't take away from that. So we don't want to label them as good or bad. We just want to understand them. This way they can't control us. Because if we don't understand them and we're not aware of them, it can control our lives without even knowing it. It can self-sabotage, like we'll end up self-sabotaging our lives and we won't even know it. So all we want to do is bring it from subconscious to conscious so we can address it, understand it, and not let it control our lives. Obviously, we know why this is important. I kind of went over this in the beginning, but your conscious mind is the one that controls 95% of your life. Your life is controlled by your subconscious mind. And so if you think you can go about life without addressing what's in your subconscious mind, you will be at the whim of your subconscious mind. You won't have any control at all. So, in order to regain control of your life, to actually make change, to manifest different things and scenarios and fix problems once and for all in your life, get away from toxic people, toxic situations, to fully remove that from your life, you have to understand what's going on in your subconscious mind, address it, and understand it. So if you're wondering why the same bad situations keep repeating in your life, maybe you have the same issue as me. Maybe you have trouble saying no, setting boundaries. Maybe you're constantly attracting toxic people. You have money problems. You have self-esteem issues. Maybe you have health issues. You can't seem to get promotions or have success in your life. Whatever it is that's a recurring problem, toxic relationships, toxic whatever it is that seems to be like a recurring problem in your life, make note of it, and we are going to investigate it together in the next part of this video. Okay, so here's how to do shadow work. The first step is to observe. You want to just observe your body and your reactions on a daily basis. So make the conscious effort for the next week to observe when you get triggered. A trigger will be anything that causes like a spike in stress, maybe anger, fear, jealousy, or guilt. Any spike of a negative emotion, you kind of just want to bookmark what triggered me? Like, what got me to this place? Did someone say something to me? Did they do something? And why did it cause me to feel that way? Why did it just like snap something in me? Let's say you get road rage. Someone cuts you off and you get super, super annoyed. Why does that bother you? Question that. Why did that trigger me? Did it trigger you because you feel like it's unfair? And why does it feel unfair? Does it feel unfair because you're following the rules, they're not, and they got to go ahead of you, and you feel like they took something from you? Address it. Figure out where that comes from. When did you first start feeling that way? Did you see other people in your life react that way, and so you thought that's normal? Or is it something deeper? Is it that you feel like the world is an unfair place and you're not rewarded properly for the energies you put out? So you just want to observe yourself and your triggers and just start to question where they come from. Step 2, you want to investigate deeper. You want to take some time to journal. You can free journal and just express your feelings when you are triggered if you have the time, or set time to journal after you're triggered. Don't journal while you're driving. But set time to journal about a trigger that you've had throughout the week that you've noticed. And you can free journal about it, or you can use prompted questions and answer questions if that's easier for you. If you do want to do the prompted questions, I have a present for you. Down in the description box, I made like a prompt, like a guide. Oh, excuse me. I made a guide for shadow work. It's got like 30 something questions in it for you to answer. You can download it for free. It's free. You can download that and you can fill that out. But if you do just want to journal freely and you don't want to use that guide, you can just ask yourself, like, where does it stem from? Where is it coming from? And you basically want to ask yourself, what am I hoping to accomplish by reacting this way? And once you figure out what it is you're trying to accomplish, you're going to brainstorm ways to accomplish that thing without having to go towards negative emotions or having to trigger yourself to get there. How can you accomplish that thing in a healthier way? And then the third step is rewiring. When you are triggered, rather than reacting to the situation, try to rewire the situation. This can be simply actually just reframing the situation. So instead of getting mad at somebody cutting you off while you're driving and getting road rage, your rage will not change the situation. Your rage won't get you where you need to be going faster. It won't change the traffic patterns, and it's also not going to change that person's behavior. Your anger and your road rage does nothing to help you accomplish your goal. If your goal is to get there on time, your best avenue to do that would be to focus on getting there on time, driving well, being aware of your surroundings, and making sure you get there in one piece. And so that's one thing. You can just reframe the situation. Another great way to reframe the situation is counting your blessings. Remembering all the reasons what you have to be grateful for. Being grateful for the fact that even though that person cut you off, they didn't nick your car. They didn't scratch your car. You didn't get into an accident. You're still safe. Counting your blessings. Another way to change the perspective is to try to understand where that person is coming from. Maybe they cut you off because they have somewhere really important to be. Maybe they're trying to get to the airport or rush someone to the hospital. Maybe they're having a really bad day and they don't know how to cope with their emotions. Just having compassion for the other person's situation. Some other things you can do to rewire yourself is when you start to get triggered, have compassion for yourself. Like, something I like to do is to thank myself. I'm like, thank you for trying to protect me. Thank you for bringing up that defense mechanism and trying to protect me, but I'm safe and I actually don't need it. So thank you, but no thank you. And I just let it be. I let it go. Because if you try to fight that emotion, that's probably not going to help. You're just going to get angry with yourself. And we don't want that either because that's not helpful. But if you thank yourself, you thank your defense mechanism. Thank you so much for being there for me. Anger, I've got this. Don't worry about it. If you've ever seen Inside Out, it's kind of like that. Like, imagine your emotions as little characters and you just say to anger, thank you, anger, but I'm good. I got it from here. Because anger is just trying to help you. but you don't need it to control you. You can also reparent yourself and tell yourself you're okay, you're safe. Sometimes I like to give myself a hug and be like, it's okay, you're safe, baby girl. You can let it out, but you're safe. You don't have to put the defense mechanism up. And I just kind of reparent myself. You can take deep breaths. You can also reset your nervous system. You can regulate your nervous system or reset your nervous system. You can do things like EFT tapping, put ice water on your face or cold water on your face to regulate your system. You can listen to happy music or like your go-to feel-good music. You can also have affirmations ready to go as a response to your trigger. Let's say your trigger is to get mad. Have an automatic affirmation that you use for when you are mad. So instead of being like, God, that person's such a fucking idiot, your affirmation can be like, I am right where I need to be and I'm right on time. I trust that I'm doing everything on time. I trust the universe is sure that I'm on time. If you're stressed about time or something like that. So creating like personalized affirmations that are directly correlated to your trigger. Another thing you can do is listen to subliminals. Subliminal audios help reprogram your subconscious mind with new and better and more helpful beliefs. So I actually have a lot of subliminals on my page. You can go listen to them. I have some for love, for money. If you want me to make a specific subliminal, let me know. If you want something for confidence, if you want something for calmness, let me know. I can make them. And the last thing you can do to rewire your brain is educate yourself. Learn new information. Learn new beliefs, learn new perspectives. If you learn and you broaden your knowledge base, you won't be as likely to stick to your old beliefs. If you keep yourself closed off and you don't learn anything new and you just rely on information from 10 years ago when you had your trauma start, you're relying on false information. That was just one point in time where you created a belief about the world and you aren't allowing yourself to learn and grow. So it's really important to educate yourself about the world, about experiences, about other people's beliefs and opinions, because odds are your beliefs were formed a long time ago. And you deserve to grow and change and have new beliefs. Beliefs that actually help progress you. Beliefs that are actually promoting your growth. Beliefs that are helpful. Debunk your beliefs and adopt new beliefs through education. All right, some best practices to go along with shadow work is to take your time. First thing, just take your goddamn time with this. Don't rush yourself. Don't tell yourself next week I'm gonna have all my shadow work done and I'm gonna be fixed. We're not fixing you because you're not broken, okay? We're just uncovering you. We're just finding out new parts of yourself. We're healing you. We're growing you. We're not fixing you, okay? So take your time with this. This is an ever-long process. This is a lifelong practice and process. Shadow work should forever just be a part of your life. Reflecting on yourself, your body, your mind, it's just a constant reflection is what it is. And self-awareness. Self-awareness is not a one-time thing that you're like, I'm gonna have self-awareness this week, fix it all, and I'm done. No, self-awareness is forever. So if you're getting into shadow work and you actually really want to change your life, you're getting into self-awareness is what's happening. And self-awareness is a lifelong pursuit. So take your time with it. There's no rush. There's no end goal. You're just here to become more aware of yourself so you can better yourself. Make sure that when you do shadow work, you're in a safe space. Like I would do it when you have time alone, maybe in the evening. Make yourself a cup of tea, light a candle, like make a thing out of it. Relax yourself because you want to make sure that you're as open to this process as possible. You want to make sure that when you're doing this process, you're not judging yourself and you're not going to be impatient with yourself, really. You just want to make sure you have the patience and space and time to really dig deep. I also recommend that if you feel so inclined, do therapy because therapy is basically shadow work with a professional. That's literally all it really is. I was always so intimidated by therapy because I thought it meant something was wrong with me. But again, there's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you. We're not broken people. We don't need to be fixed. We're just growing people. That's all. And once I realized that therapy was not for fixing something wrong, it was for growing into a better person, it completely changed my mindset on therapy. And now I think that like everyone should go to therapy. Everyone should have a safe space to talk to a professional and someone to bounce ideas with, someone to help you ask the tough questions and hold you accountable, someone to also have compassion for you. It is so validating when my therapist has compassion for me when I don't even have compassion for me. It's so helpful for someone to say, it's not your fault. Stop blaming yourself. And so therapy made me have just so much more love for myself, compassion for myself, and make me realize that like, I'm not all as bad as I think I am. And it's helpful. It's almost like when shadow work comes to life and becomes a person, that's my therapist. So do therapy, do it. This shadow work stuff is basically like self-therapy, and imagine how much more it would help if you had an actual professional person doing it with you. And then the last thing, like I was saying, this is an ever-long process. This is for life. So this is not a one-time fix. This is not, you're going to do this tomorrow night and your whole life is going to change and that's it. You never have to do shadow work again. No, this is like a lifelong commitment. Self-awareness, self-discovery is a lifelong commitment, and honestly, it's so much fun once you get into it. Learning about yourself, spending time with yourself, and just dedicating attention towards you. You know, we listen to our friends' problems, we listen to our parents' problems, maybe your significant other's problems. You let other people vent to you, but when do you ever get to vent to you? When do you ever listen to yourself and your own problems and hear yourself out? I feel like we often just suppress our own emotions and let other people give us their emotions, when really it should be the other way around. You should listen to your own emotions. Feel yourself vent, hear yourself, listen to yourself, and just make it part of your routine. That is everything on shadow work. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. And if you liked this video, you should definitely subscribe, because my entire channel is dedicated to self-growth. It's dedicated to manifestation, law of attraction, and a little bit of magic sometimes. So if that sounds like your jam, make sure you subscribe and turn on the bell notification so you do not miss an upload when I do it. You do not miss an upload when I upload it. You don't miss an upload when I upload. You don't miss when I upload. That's better. That's way better. I will see you in my next video. Mwah.